Your bride comes a fall. Did anyone hear you call as you drove your Volvo into a canal? Oh, this is it. I love you, but I've nowhere else to go. I'm a depressio. I'm a depressio.
Almost that sort of bringing your mate in and having them like pop off.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great that was the one. It wasn't like the Jimmy Carr episode. It wasn't like you know when they started getting these really big. I mean, it's always had consistently really big comedian guests, but it's when you have that mate that sort of
the best clips we've had of.
becomes-
I mean, Jamie just fucking. He hits home runners. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
consistently.
it doesn't.
We've got
miss.
mates like that as well. We know
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they just got the spotlight.
Yeah,
We know fucking 3 mates we could reel off right now, but like he would just pop off if he told that certain story or.
yeah. I guess if people see it as well, isn't it? But it's one of them kind of I don't know, man. Like getting that you can't.
Yeah,
that
it's one of those-
little magic moment, man.
It's lightning
it's
in a bottle.
beautiful.
You can't.
It is.
Can't replicate it.
Welcome to episode 64. Harry Robinson back in Chef.
I know. I
Student
said
of.
this. So I'm a student of, and then also my grandparents are from here, and I got picked up by my grandpa from the train station. And I was saying, I always get this homely vibe. I love
Yeah.
Sheffield. Like I always said when I lived in Sheffield at uni that I could live in Sheffield.
Yeah.
Like well into my adult life.
It's one of
I
them
just think it's
cities, I
boss.
think. If it gets you, it really gets you. Like
It's starting to get me, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like and like I always thought the pub culture I think in Sheffield is better than anywhere else.
Yeah.
Well, by like pubs, I mean like proper pubs.
Yeah, like old man boozers.
Yeah, like like I used to live in Notty House. in
Oh, Notty
Brunel, so they
House,
had,
man.
like the best pies you've ever had in your life.
Yeah.
And
good vibe.
God, yeah. No, I have such a strong connection to Sheffield.
Yeah. Is that why you came? Do you think that's why you came to uni here?
No, I came to uni here because I wanted to do journalism at uni, and it was #1 on the rankings for journalism in the country.
Oh, sick.
it
Okay.
was
I
that-
mean, it is a good uni as well. That's
it's
the
a
thing. Like,
fantastic uni, and the journalism department is unmatched.
Yeah.
But it was them and Oxford, and I put Oxford down because they were just the top 2, and then Oxford were like, "Oh, come down for an interview,"
Yeah.
because of my like expected grades, and I just fobbed them off. Because I was like,
mate, you fobbed off Oxford, man.
because one Sheffield
No.
was #1 anyway.
Yeah.
But also
There's-
fucking be arse being around like
Yeah.
toffs down, and I would have hated it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I got to go for pints and pies here.
Yeah. It's a
Like-
bit more you kind of thing. A
yeah,
bit more who you
like
are.
going around Oxford with like I don't know. It's just like people called like Tobias.
Yeah.
Like get to fuck, man.
How many Tobiases do you reckon there are in Oxford? There's probably quick
That-
Google on that one. There's probably quite a lot.
How many
yeah.
Tobias does it take to screw in a light bulb?
One? No, they
They
get the
pay
butler
someone
to
else
do it.
to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
they get the butler to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's lovely. Like I have a similar thing with chefs. So my dad's from here. My dad's family still lived here,
Mhm.
and I sort of put Sheffield down as like it wasn't the best in the country because I went to Sheffield Hallam, but I put it down as one of those ones. I was like, it's a familiar city, and there was at the time some really good music coming out of here. So I was like,
Oh, absolutely.
kind of that drew me to it, and then I was like, but Sheffield that I remember is kind of like grey and a bit miserable, and like
Yeah.
when I actually got here and like drove around, I was like, oh man, what a city! Like this is like proper, and then living here and just being here and everything, it just sort of got me, and it's like just infected me. And I mean, I live in Manchester now, but I'm over here like 2-3 times a week. So it's one of those. But you're Liverpool now, living in Liverpool.
Yeah, so I still live at home at the moment.
Okay.
So I live kind of on the out. I mean, my mum lives in Wigan.
Yeah.
My dad lives like on the outskirts. I guess, of
Famous
Liverpool,
Wigan
really.
Pier.
Yeah,
The
famous
home
Wigan.
of Donk.
Have you been to the home of Donk?
I've been past Wigan Pier and stuff like that. Is that where the home of Donk is, or?
I think, well,
was that Northern Soul?
we were used to obsess with Donk music back in the day, weren't we, where it came from. And Wigan was a big kind of...
Wigan Casino is Northern Soul.
Yes.
So my dad is a big Northern Soul head, and he used to go Wigan Casino a lot. And then Wigan Pier is like the mad donk sort of happy hardcore sounds.
Yeah.
Coming out straight out of Wigan. But like so like mostly based in Liverpool though.
Yeah,
like,
so
working over in Liverpool.
I work in Liverpool. I mean, most of the time as well, because I'm working a lot and I kind of like I live my work a little bit. So sometimes I'll get not sometimes, a lot of the times I'll get hotels in Liverpool and then work into the night. So even then, like I'll stay in Liverpool. My girlfriend lives in Bootle. Right. My family are all from Liverpool. So then like on my dad's side, my mum's side from Sheffield.
Yeah.
But so then I'll go. I'm around Liverpool anyway. All our social stuff's in Liverpool. So I'm very. But
that's kind of like your city at the minute, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And it's, I don't know, I have a weird sense of, even though I'm like a wool, like like to use the term, like I do have a sense of pride for the city. And I always have done because
I'm married to a Scouser, so I understand the tentative nature with which you've said that, because she will regularly ask people if they say they're from Liverpool, what colour she's been, and that kind of thing. It's a real thing. Like people that are from Liverpool are really passionate about.
I think there's a science to the kind of woolly back thing a little bit, because like I'm a wool, but I'm not the side where it's like if you're from over the water, you're a wool.
Yeah.
Whereas like I grew up in like Skem, which is like a kind of rough, it was a new town. It was like an overflow bit where loads of old Scousers who couldn't afford to live in Liverpool all moved to Skem. So Skem's got a Wigan postcode. People from Skem, I'd argue, aren't wolves. They're just from Skem. They're not Scousers, but they're not. Whereas like if you go like Tranmere Rovers, you're a wool.
Is there a bit of a thing where it's like people that aren't from Liverpool that claim they're from Liverpool, and then when they get asked as well, they say, "Oh yeah, but I'm actually from." That's more of a woolly thing, right, to do. Because if you just admit you're a wool, then you sound. Yeah,
but that happened. So in Sheffield, I used to say I was from Liverpool because it's like BR's kind of explaining.
Yeah, because people in Sheffield don't understand.
Yeah, but then I was.
Oh, what, mate? You're from where?
But then I was in the queue for like a uni night out, and I said it, and the fella turned around in front of me, and he was from like Walton or something.
Oh, right.
And he basically twigged that he knew I was. He was like, "Oh, what part of Liverpool are you from?" I was like, nearabouts. I've seen it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you're blue or red. Support Wigan.
I'm blue. I'm blue and white.
yeah, blue and white. So, for those of you that don't know, I'm sure that most of you will. You work with Have a Word.
Yep.
And recently started your own podcast with Carl from Have a Word.
Oh, yes.
Called Mad That. I've actually saved the Joe Exotic episode to listen to on my way to here, because I knew I was having you on, and I was like, I'm going to save that last episode and listen to it on the way. What a fucking moment that is, man. It's insane.
That might be one of the... Do you know, we had Carl's stag do the other week, and there was a lovely moment at the stag do where we kind of went round like all a bit drunk and said kind of like a nice moment that we've had with Carl. Because it was a kind of tight-knit group of us, and my moment was like, so that was the second day of recording. Like the first day we turned up, waited all night for him, and he never answered. And we were like, oh, we've been ghosted by Joe Exotic. And basically what happened, there'd been a prison fight near the phones. so he couldn't call us.
Yeah.
And then the next day it got sorted, and then he came to the phone, and then when it finished, like the ferocity that me and Carl are like high-fiving and like celebrating.
It's legit.
I didn't sleep at all that night. It was the most adrenaline I've ever had from any interview ever. And like I've done in-person stuff and like documentaries and stuff like that, but like that, because it seemed like the impossible a little bit. To speak to Joe Exotic from prison.
Is that the best get that you've ever got? From like a journalistic point of view? That's a mad get. Like,
probably. It's certainly the one I've had the biggest reaction and plaudits for. Like, and it's the one where when I tell people, oh yeah, I've done this podcast or whatever. Oh, we spoke to Joe Exotic. They're
like, oh, okay.
People
he's
notice,
legit.
people recognise that. Whereas like when I've done other stuff, like I did like a Jonestown Survive was my first one or whatever. But then you've got to kind of explain what that is a little bit.
But that I mean, like, I've done a little bit of a deep dive into some of your stuff. I was saying to you before we started, like I just watched your two documentaries you got on your YouTube channel at the moment.
Documentaries that I did.
But they're so good, man. Like, have
you
got when you're going into those, like, what are you like? Do you find the thing first and go, that needs to be a documentary, or?
So the first documentary was with a Hebrew Israelite hate group in America. Yeah. So I studied out in Oklahoma,
That's it's called the Real Black Panthers.
The Real Black Sabbath.
The Real Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Real Black Sabbath. But you talk about the Black Panthers in it. Sorry, the Real Black Sabbath.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And I went to. It's always been my dream to do a documentary. So when I went to Oklahoma, I was like, "This is what I want to do." And I told my lecturer there, who I owe so much to. His name's Mike Betcher. He was the first ever journalist for CNN. When CNN went on the air, he was the first ever on-screen reporter. Aside from the anchor through to him, and then he did the first story.
Yeah.
He's a legend, won about 6 Emmys and stuff like that.
Wow, okay.
And he took me under his wing the whole time I was out there.
Yeah.
And I want to make a documentary. He was like, you come into my class, and this is the class that you're going to do it.
Wow.
So then I was like, I need to find something to do. And I was just like overly ambitious with it. I basically just typed in hate groups in Oklahoma, and they were a registered one.
Oy, nice.
And I just looked at all these different hate groups, and I was like, what one can I kind of make a story about?
Yeah.
And then I got in touch with the Hebrew Israelites. They're called the ISUPK, and spoke to Captain Yagawap, who was the main fella.
Yeah, yeah.
And at the time, all of the people had COVID. So then, like, he was like, we'll meet up in a few weeks' time. So then I just would call him up every few days and like check in on him.
Is that why? So in the film, not to spoil it for everyone at home, but you meet a children's play park, right?
Yeah,
Is it because it was filmed during like the COVID times? So you had to meet somewhere outside.
No, because Oklahoma didn't care about COVID. There was no COVID restrictions.
You could have met them anywhere, but they chose to meet you.
They
at
wanted
children's
park. Yeah, they wanted a neutral like ground.
Yeah, it doesn't get much more neutral than a roundabout, does it?
Yeah, they wanted a there were kids on the swing, and there's me, my mate Adam, who's holding the camera. And bear in mind as well, we're like both too specky. Like Adam's dead skinny as well. Like he's a fit lad, but he's dead skinny.
Yeah, yeah.
Two specky British lads in the middle of the States.
Yeah.
And they are like, I'm going to mention race to give the context as well, because they're a black supremacist group. Two African American men. One of them is almost like 7 foot. He's huge. He's probably about 6'3", but he was massive, and he built like a brick shithouse. They've got body armor on. They've got boots. The big fella Akash had a gold chain with an AK-47 at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And they immediately went, we're going to have to pat you down for weapons. And I went, yeah, okay.
Yes, and that's in the doc.
Yeah.
He just stood there being patted down by these gigantic men that also, just to remind you at home, they're part of a hate group.
They're a
registered hate group. Yeah.
And it was just a bit like they had this mad like kind of leather outfit as well. It was weird as well because they like embroidered their own like leather outfits at home to say stuff. It seemed like very kind of Lely Kelly, like like I don't know.
So it's kind of cute.
There's
There's a cuteness
in
to
the
it.
room, just all like showing them each other. Do you like mine? Yes. I like it.
They may as well knitted it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's sweet.
It's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
But I think I got more leeway than I would argue any white person has ever got with them, because they saw me as British rather than white.
Yeah.
It was such a novelty that a British person had turned up.
Yeah.
Not that I'd go around saying I was British as well. But
do you think that's like because Americans are there's a British charm thing that the Americans are kind of not obsessed with, but there's definitely like
I'd say
you get special treatment, right?
Oh, absolutely.
The accent,
I went to Florida and it was obsessed with my accent. It was like, oh my God, you're from England?
It's crazy. Well, Oklahoma, they don't leave the state.
So it's even more mind-blowing to them.
So I went to a fast food place called Sonic on the first day, and they brought Sonic. We thought you could eat in like Mackey's, but it was like it's like a drive-in.
I know, Sonic.
Mate,
I'm an American boy. Yeah,
and they brought the staff out to have a look at us.
Look at them.
Yeah, because we had to go over the tannoy, and they were like, "We can't understand what you're saying." And they came out, and they were like, "You've got to come out. There's British people out there."
Especially like
I thought they made you speak over the tannoy just so everyone could hear your accent.
Oh no, like in the.
I wonder what they think about the Scouse accent.
Well, so I had to. I'm not saying I have a Scouse accent, but I have a twinge of it. Certainly.
You do, man.
You definitely have
push
a
it
twinge,
up. You push it up for the Americans.
So I studied language. There's a thing called covert prestige and overt prestige, and like covert prestige is when you want to. I think I've got the right way around. Is when you strengthen your accent to not be a part of the kind of people.
Right.
And overt prestige is when you kind of soften your accent to be more like the people around you, I guess.
That's fascinating.
And I would be around Americans and they'd be overly American. That was a bit cringy. And I could feel myself almost being a bit kind of up in the kind of northernness of my voice, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But they all thought I was Scottish and no one could understand me. Like it was a real. So I had to, first 2 weeks, no one understood a word I said, and I really toned it down.
Yeah.
And like pronounced my T's a bit more, I guess, or like my T's were less sibilant, like they sounded more like T's.
How long are you out in Oklahoma for? So just a year or so?
A year, yeah.
And
So
that's during COVID times as well.
Back into 2021, start of 2022. It was
So that's kind of a crazy time to be in America as well. So Biden's just come in, right?
Yes, just come in.
Yes, just come in, and COVID's still everywhere. But in Oklahoma, there's no protocol for it whatsoever. So
if anything, there's anti-protocol because you weren't allowed to make people wear masks. That was unconstitutional.
I'm not surprised.
Amazing.
So you weren't allowed. It was illegal to go. If you come in my shop, you have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
So and it was a kind of widespread thing that no one was vaccinated. So I what 2 years, whatever, in the UK, I didn't get COVID at all. I landed there. The next week, it was my 21st birthday, and I had COVID. Like
fuck!
I had when they started having like variants that were like named after Dragon Ball Z characters, or whatever. Like, I had one of them ones, and I was like,
oh fuck,
yeah.
Did you get the taste and smell thing like going away? Because I did when I got it. It's really weird.
I just got really ill.
I got really ill. I was fucking. I was really just in bed. Like,
you got American COVID, man. It's got AK-47s and shit on gold chains. And
well, because of my course as well, and because of like my program with me going away for a year.
Yeah,
I couldn't. If I'd missed classes without a doctor's note, my grade would go down.
Oh shit!
So and they wouldn't give me a doctor's note until I'd passed the COVID test or until I was positive for COVID. So I just had to go into lessons. And no one was.
Everyone in Oklahoma was like, "We're not giving you a COVID test. We don't believe it's fucking real."
So and no one was vaccinated, and there was a girl called Caroline from Alabama who was lovely, but one of the first days she went on a bit of a spiel with me and my mate that I was out with, talking about like how she didn't believe in COVID or she didn't believe in the vaccine, and the fact that people wear masks is unconstitutional. She was a big Trump fan, and God, when I came back, she was still off with COVID. I think I gave her mega COVID because she was like, because as she was saying so, I was like, I need to go home. Like I wasn't well, and they tried to move every foreign student that had COVID. They put them into like an abandoned accommodation block, and I was like,
rounding them up.
Yeah, I was like,
it sounds like the start of an 80s movie.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not going to I'm staying in my room. I made an agreement with my flatmates. Was like, if I just stay in my room.
It's unconstitutional, mate.
Yeah.
You can't put me in a flat
exactly.
block. Come on.
So I just stayed in my room and didn't tell the people that I'd moved or whatever,
or
that I'd stayed or anything. And then I was in bed, bollock naked, watching Grey's Anatomy because I binged like a full season whilst I had COVID.
Yeah. Can you watch it any other way?
I started. It was quite good as well because everyone dies in Grey's Anatomy because they're dead ill, but I felt like them, and I was like, I'm gonna beat this.
Yeah.
So oh god, the cleaner came in and I was just like stark out on the bed, like legs akimbo.
Grey's Anatomy blasting off in the background.
Yeah, and she was like, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm ill.
Don't come in. Don't kiss me.
And when I went out to uni after I got out, they like properly decontaminated my room and stuff like that. Oh
fuck, like steam cleaner and that.
Yeah, like 2319 on Monsters Inc. Like someone had left a sock there.
Oh my god,
holy shit.
That's such a reference as well. Yeah.
Oh fuck no, man.
But yeah, it was a bit of a mad time. But yeah, so in terms of like meeting the group at the park, that was just because they fancied the park.
That's where you want to meet. Where do you want to meet? A kids' play park? Sounds all right. Yeah. Okay,
sure.
cool. We'll be there.
Whatever you say.
Are you nervous at any point, or like because you've done a series of podcasts sort of when you were younger as well, which I had a little flick through. Because some of that actually comes into some of the people you end up getting on Mad That later on, which we'll
absolutely
try and cover in a bit and hopefully remember. But so by that point, you'd interviewed quite a few kind of high profile names, and you've done quite a lot of journalism. So are you nervous when you're going into a thing with a hate group? Or
do you know what? This is going to sound so pretentious, but like because from the age of about 14, I grew up watching Louis Theroux or whatever, and I was so. This is my dream of something I get to do. Yeah. And I was then in a park in near Oklahoma City. Yeah. About to meet a cult, filming it, and I got to then like be on camera doing it. It was more the kind of vibe of this is everything that I want, and I'm ready to do this, and I can do this.
That's great.
That I wasn't. And then after the fact, I was like, maybe I should have been a bit more nervous because they were quite a threatening. Although to be fair, like I'd go for a drink with them. Like they were.
Yeah.
I mean, their views weren't good, but as the kind of conclusion from the documentary is that these men are just African American men who have been like, you know, victims of institutional racism and systemic racism, and they've been treated poorly. And instead of going, oh, it's because the system is like awful, they've gone, oh, it must be God's plan for me to have to struggle.
Yeah.
So then they put on leather and put the boots on.
You've got to find the logic in something. If your whole life is so illogical, you've got to find the logic somewhere. One of the things I love that you say at the start of the documentaries, you say that you're interested in people, or like interested in humans.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think we're very much the same. And like one of the reasons I love having this podcast is getting different people in and just chatting to them about like their lives, because we've spoken to people from all sorts of backgrounds. I mean, mostly creative at this point, really. But even still, you get such different views, and you do come out of it and you go, oh shit, like actually, you know, maybe I wouldn't have known anything about that. Or like you say, you go for a drink with them and just sit with them and just listen to what they've got to say. Maybe never agree with it, but then you get that, like, it's that other perspective. It's that like
the thing that people often mix up. You don't have to agree. Both things can be true. You can you disagree with a person, also think they're a bit of a dick or illogical, but you can also be like, I'm still willing to talk to you and we can have a conversation. Whereas I think people think a lot these days, very, in my opinion, a little bit too emotionally, where it's like they hate who they are, then that's it. They won't even entertain the conversation. But I've found in my life, whenever even if there's something many people disagree with, but if I could just get somewhere on side with them, like something, then you have that connection. I think
as human beings,
good,
there's always a common ground, right? You found common ground with Shirley Phelps Roper.
Well, that was
briefly.
Was the main thing, was that because I got one of the lovely, so that Have a Word's got a fan called Texas Jilly Bean.
Yes,
who's like kind of famous for being like the early American fan of Have a Word, I guess. And has been a long-standing fan. And she sent a lovely message to me and Carl that was like, I was so worried that when this interview was announced, because I love you lads.
Yeah.
And I felt that you were going to go and give a platform to this kind of hate preacher.
Yes.
But what we did was just talk, and she was like, but then you talked to a normal person and tried to get something out of it and kind of taught a lesson, I guess, from the podcast, and she was a big fan of that, and that was the biggest compliment that I could have got, because like I just want to find, like, there's a point in the Mad That interview where she basically starts talking about that she loves Barbra Streisand.
Yes,
and she talks about her grandchildren. She's just an old grandmother.
Yeah.
She's not one of the most hated preachers in America.
Yeah, for those that don't know who Shirley Phelps Roper is, go and Google her, and then also watch or listen to the Mad That episode. You find like human common ground with it when you're talking to her about being a grandma and just her life and her family and stuff like that. She's a human being. Yeah. But then also one of the great things I would like to say about that interview, and I picked it up and I think I commented on it. You wore a Keith Haring jumper throughout. Keith Haring, obviously, for those who don't know, 1980s New York artist, very outwardly gay. Yeah,
at a time when it was...
Yeah, and Shirley Phelps Roper quite homophobic.
Oh, that's what it's her MO.
Yeah, so
did she pick up on the jumper? Or
I brought it up to her at one point. It was a purposeful choice. I love Keith Haring. I love his art. I love his... and I have a lot of Keith Haring clothes. I'm very kind of hyperfixated when I find... Like, I've got loads of Dickie stuff now. Because I went to the shops the other day and just, like, got everything. But, like, so I was like, oh, this is... Like, I have, because I think about what I want to wear to look nice anyway, but I was like, oh, this is to send a message a little bit. Because also it's then like, I know I can give this woman a platform, which is what I'm doing. I'm questioning her. Because also I'm a strong believer that if you're intelligent enough to watch a journalistic podcast or to watch a documentary, you're intelligent enough to make your own mind up. And if you left that interview going, oh, Shirley Phelps Roper's a good person, you were predisposed to believe that anyway. You were going to come into it anyway. Me like overtly shouting her down, isn't going to change that.
Yeah.
And if anything, spurs people on of me shouting at an old woman on. I don't want to be a horrible
But
to
you
an old
don't
woman.
get
on.
like
It
the
just-
best from somebody, even if you're like, again, if you want to interview a person, you want to really get the best out of them. I think being kind of rude and dismissive and just a bit, on the offensive, you won't get the best out of them anyway.
No, exactly.
So you don't have to be overly nice to them. You just got to come from a human level, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's where, like, I remember I used to get up for school and Piers Morgan used to do Good Morning Britain. And that used to be on the telly as I was getting ready for secondary school.
Just in the background.
And he would treat a politician the same way he'd treat like a mum that would come on to talk about school uniforms.
Yeah.
And he'd shout all of them down. And I was like, you're not getting anywhere with any of it. And it's just to kind of be a bit performative. And then
It just becomes a bit
very
exhausting
performative.
to listen to as well, doesn't it? And like, if you listening to that while you're getting ready, it ruins your Cheerios, doesn't it?
like absolutely. Like, but he'll do it where he'll shout at people that need to be shouted at for the zeitgeist, I guess, if you get what I mean. Like, he'll hold people to task at times, and it's good journalism. But sometimes it's over the top, and that's certainly not my lane. I'm also not the kind of person that, like, I'm not a shouty person unless someone cuts me up in traffic.
Like you said,
Or
it's
your
very,
car breaks
it's
down.
very performative, and I think disingenuous as well. Because I don't really know what Piers thinks about anything when I look at him. I think, are you is this just a caricature? Who is Piers Morgan? I don't.
He also
know what
just
I mean?
loves glazing people. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I learned what that meant the other day. That's a very
Really?
it's a very
Glaze?
Gen Z term, that, isn't it? Glazing.
Yeah,
Because
glazing.
it sounds like you're covering them in cum, but I guess that kind of.
do you know what I was going to use? I don't think I've ever used the word glazing, but in my head I was going to use some. I think because I have the word poison in my brain, I was going to use some sort of terminology that sounded like being covered in cum, and then I was like, I'm not sure where the line is on Express or podcast, so I'll tone it back a little bit.
No.
On the cum chat.
Oh no, we're covering things in cum.
Oh,
It's
great.
fine,
Oh,
it's fine.
It's all
We'll
I,
come over everything.
I was wondering about that smell, you know.
everything's covered in cum. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. One thing I was going to say is, so you were talking earlier about Louis Theroux and obviously saying how much of an inspiration he is. Any other journalists that sort of like, at what point did young Harry sort of go, do you know what? I think that might be it for me. Like, I think journalism's the sort of way to go.
Louis Theroux certainly the one. I also love the books of John Ronson and stuff like that. Which they're very the same kind of flavour.
Mm-hmm.
John Ronson. I'll have to write that down.
Oh, John Ronson's books are unbelievable. He did like the Men Who Stare at Goats and stuff like that.
Oh, shit, that was him?
Yeah.
He did one about like getting cancelled or something as well, right?
Yeah, that's the only one I've not read, you know.
Yeah.
But because I prefer him on audio. I mean, I don't read loads anyway, but I prefer him on audio book because he's got quite a distinctive voice. But he, I started off, I did some writing where I did, I was about 14 and I wrote about WWE because someone messaged me and was like, this website needs someone to report on this. And I liked the idea of doing a bit of writing.
So that was like your first
my
journalistic
first kind of
foray.
Yeah, and I wanted to do media at my GCSE like choices, so that was like kind of setting up for that.
Nice.
And then eventually when I was 15, that website got closed down because they were nicking all the images for the website off Google Images. And they just closed everything. And I went like, oh shit, I need to collate my portfolio here. I've written quite a lot for them.
Yeah.
That I thought was good writing. And I made a website on WordPress. I called it All Out Attack. Probably still available somewhere if someone can find it.
Nice.
And I then did. My dad went, "Why don't you interview Tony Bellew?" Because Tony Bellew was going to fight David Tay for the first time, and it was big news at the time. And I was like, "Why would Tony Bellew speak to a 15-year-old like school child?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, if he says no, he says no." So I emailed him, and Tony Bellew got back within the hour and was like, "Yeah, like send questions over, or whatever." So I interviewed Tony Bellew about this fight, and was mad. You know, I then had an interview. So then I was like, oh, I'll do more. So my dad was like, well, message Ricky Hatton because he was big into boxing.
Just message all these boxes, see what you can get.
Ricky Hatton got back. I asked Ricky Hatton at the age of 15 about his depression and stuff like that. And my media teacher was like, this is what you should be. This is great.
Wow.
And then I used to allocate like a couple hours a week where I would just send off maybe about 40 emails to random people. I'd go on their websites and find their contact emails. I'm like, would you do an interview with me?
Yeah.
They weren't copy and paste emails as well. I'd write out like the things I liked about their career, you know, why I wanted the interview with them, that kind of stuff.
You paid them attention, yeah.
Yeah, and because my mindset was big net, and then if one person gets back from that 40, I've got an interview, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then I started rattling off those, and then I did the woman who survived Jonestown, who's called Laura Johnston Cole. I would argue that woman's probably the most important woman that has ever lent me a time or has got involved in my life, because I was 16 and spoke to this woman who had survived. I mean, for people who don't know the Jonestown massacre, it was a cult. It was a commune in an American commune that was based down in South American Guyana, and 950 odd people committed mass suicide in one go.
That's the Kool-Aid, right?
Yeah, drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So if you've ever heard the phrase "don't drink the Kool-Aid," that's where that comes from.
It was the biggest loss of American life all the way up until 9/11. Like, it was huge. And
they had to do something big to top it, didn't they?
Twice in one day. And
fucking hell, it's not just have a word, is it? 9/11 is literally on every podcast.
It was big news, you know. I'm not sure if you heard of it. It was pretty massive, that 9/11.
How old were you, 9/11?
Just turned 1.
My God.
Yeah, that's depressing, isn't it?
I got told I was watching Teletubbies, and then Teletubbies got interrupted. Not that I remember it.
I remember coming back from school, man, and just seeing it on the TV. I remember having a little backpack on and then the second plane hit, and I must have been
Tinky Winky in that one,
10?
mate.
Powers at the second tower. Just the sun in the sky going like, fucking hell.
Mad episode of fucking Teletubbies. The Twin Towers episode of Teletubbies.
I wanted someone to edit the sun in the corner going, fuck.
Look at that cloud down there.
A little baby crying.
You need a bigger Hoover for the rubble, wouldn't you?
Fucking hell, where were we before that? Jonestown Massacre, sorry.
Jonestown Massacre.
The most important person that ever got in touch.
Yes, Laura Johnston Cole. She's no longer with us now, but she was a fascinating woman. She was white, but she used to be a Black Panther. I was reliably told when she died by people that she slept with the entire branch of the Black Panthers that she was a part of.
Wow.
So in my head, she's just like this legend. Like, she was part of another cult before Jonestown and stuff like that.
Just really living her life.
Or she was so high up in the Jonestown commune that she was sent to Georgetown, the capital of Guyana, to like do PR essentially,
right?
And that's when she missed the mass suicide. So
just on a technicality kind of thing, she was just out of town, out of office.
It was her and the basketball team.
Oh shit!
And the basketball team was captained by Jim Jones's son. Jim Jones was the fella that.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So
I don't know too much about the story, but they knew they was gonna die?
No, there was no like preference of it, but they were.
I hinted at. They're like,
So Jim Jones used to get them up at night and make them like do fake. He called them white nights. It was like fake fake suicides. And it was like to show your reliance, stuff like that. And he basically had these mercenaries pointing guns at them, and they all did it. And he'd be like, "No, none of it was real. Go back to bed." And it's basically like
like the first gaslighter, really.
Yeah, well, it was brainwashing.
Yeah,
which is why they were all. I believe they were all murdered, even though they did it themselves.
Well,
one woman wasn't, and then all the kids weren't, and the dogs weren't. But yeah, and I was 16 on a Skype call. I was grossly under experienced for the level of interview, because I'd only
quite a heavy topic for a 16-year-old to hear about as well.
How many interviews before this?
A
few, but
boxers.
Boxers, and then you go
into
this lady who survived a cult death.
10, 15, 12, maybe, like, and then Laura. I mean, like, there's a 45. If you go on the Wikipedia, there's a 45-minute recording of the deaths, like a audio recording. So I was 16, horrific. Sat at home listening to people. Like, that was rough. But I was listening to it like, this is important for me to listen to.
For sure, yeah.
So it was a big learning point. She cried on the phone to me. It was on the Skype call, I instinctively laughed briefly because I didn't know what to do. That's what I mean. I was.
You were 16. You were 16-year-old.
Yeah, I didn't laugh at her. It was just almost the severe awkwardness of the situation of like, I don't know where to go from here, because the fact that this woman had chosen a 16-year-old kid to represent and hold her story up is like, I'm so grateful to her. And at the time, I didn't realize, but at the time she had cancer, which is what killed her.
Oh shit!
And
wow.
You know, to roll out of bed and do that for me, like when she's going through everything, like she's an extraordinary woman.
Yeah.
And
It's almost like a last opportunity to share that kind of thing, though, as well, isn't it? To an extent.
And again, the interviews out there, it's not the quality's not very good, and the questions probably not great, but it's like a time
16,
capsule.
Harry.
Yeah,
And
it's one of the things I'm most proud of. And then that was when, instead of me becoming like some media manager at some football club, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, but I found out that that's not what I want to do, and just went like that.
Yeah.
And then I interviewed like a fella who survived the Waco siege. The fellas that killed Pablo Escobar, who I ended up coming back to.
So at that point, you're kind of like, let's find some really interesting stories, and let's find some really unique kind of people that have lived a certain perspective, maybe. Yeah,
and it's if people on the fringes of society who have these kind of stories that you don't get to hear. Yeah. Like if you
Mate, we're from Boston, Lincolnshire. We know about people on the fringes of society, man. Fucking wild, man.
We need to go back to our roots.
I wish I could show Harry bostontown.net. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was a website that somebody compiled, and they just go around our hometown filming the most weird and wonderful characters. There was a guy called Cedric
Tunnage,
who was a cross-dresser. There was a guy called Tunnage who used to eat from bins. Stuart Nutter.
Stuart Nutter's a great name.
He had a catchphrase which was literally
No more.
Yep. No more.
Did he sell merch?
He'd just be canned up. He should have. But
they'll be killing it.
I think
now.
Eventually they probably were going to sell T-shirts with Stuart Nutter on, and people would have bought them as well. But it's only these people in this tiny little pocket that know about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but you're absolutely right. That's where you get the most interesting characters.
There used to be a man in Ormskirk. I don't know his story, but he used to be about 80. Must have been about 80, and he used to roller skate everywhere. And he got banned from Ormskirk Village.
What roller skating?
Like rollerblade, and he got banned from Ormskirk Village because he was just too dangerous on his roller skates.
How can you be
loads of signs, no skating here?
Is he like doing tricks? Has he got knives?
What's
going on?
I don't know. I just remember seeing him roller skate, and this might be a rumor that
chasing kids.
But he was like. He was, and apparently I spoke to people. Who said, "Oh yeah, we know him. He's a lovely one." But he just would roller skate everywhere, and but like there was all these. Yeah, there was all these stories about him getting chased out of different villages because he's like he's going too fast.
I bet they could catch him.
Do you know what? Like I think I've come to learn over the last few years, I just don't fit in very well with normal things. My missus just started a new job, and she was saying about like the office, and they all got called into a meeting, and yeah, right, guys, we're having this meeting because we're rearranging the tables, and I'm like, you need a meeting for rearranging. Just rearrange the tables.
It could have been an email.
Like, it could have been an email.
This could have been an email.
We're rearranging the tables, but what if I don't get a window? I don't know. Like, are you sure? And this man's just trying to roller skate through a village, and he can't do that in peace.
I know.
What's he doing?
It's nanny state, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you know what?
I don't miss any part of that. Those kind of, again, I'm like you. I did it for enough time. I used to be in meetings, and I used to fascinate about just a horse coming in and kicking everybody about. That was one of the thoughts I had. I remember I was so bored in this like hour and a half meeting, and I thought to myself, what if a horse just comes in here now?
It's kick.
Like back kicking, like a horse, or like roundhouse.
Like bucking.
Just bucking and just fucking everybody up. And that was my thoughts because I was so bored. I was like, I need to... And then I just started laughing to myself, and then people look at me like, what the fuck is he thinking about?
And that's why he's not a media manager at a football club. Because in his interview, he was like, I am thinking about a horse just coming in here and just bucking.
It could have been at Newcastle. They had some horses that got attacked. What? that horse at Newcastle that got punched by the Newcastle fan.
I've never heard about this.
Oh, that's legendary. Just some fella who some drunk Newcastle fan that punched a horse, and he went to prison for it. We certainly went to court he's like proper squaring off with this horse. I'm surprised that was like legendary.
In prison as well, that's a great story. And what are you in for? Punched a horse? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What are you in for? Murdered 18
horses.
Yeah. Murdered 18 horses.
Rollerblading in
specific
villages.
Horse murderers prison.
What are you in for? Rollerblading around villages that dangerous with knives.
I mean, would that be a good doc?
What,
the roller skating guy?
Oh, I don't think he's longer with us anymore.
All right,
skating above the clouds somewhere.
I wanted to
another one with
documentaries. I always wanted because again, I want to do fucking everything, but I always fascinated about like I love Louis Theroux, like we spoke about just off pod. But I always wanted to interview like a furry convention. I was always intrigued about the world of furries and just what they did. And I don't know, man, something about that world. I'm like, what's going on here? Have you ever wanted to get into some kind of weird shit like that? Like, I don't know, because Louis Theroux did a fucking swingers.
So
one, didn't he?
Louis Theroux swingers one's one of my favourites.
Yeah, man.
I'd absolutely do some sort of the world of sex in that regard kind of fascinates me. In I know it's ironic as well because I got called Horny Harry for ages on have a word.
El
But
Horno.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's not me. That's a separate man. And
Sorry.
the idea that just people.
Sex is like transactional and
the people who are like wired in their head to like, oh, I love getting fucked whilst wearing a scuba outfit. Like one of the fellas in that swingers thing, like wears scuba gear and stuff like that, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong, different strokes for different folks and stuff like that, and I'm fascinated by the fact of why is your brain gone, like that.
Yes, me too.
Do you know what I mean?
My first thought is, how warm is that in a scuba suit?
So hot. Yeah,
I'll be so hot.
Maybe that's the thing, though.
I'm
Maybe that's what you like.
And I'm so hot.
You could do a snorkel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do. I'd do a snorkel and goggles. I don't think I could do the full outfit.
Flippers.
And do you know what? Athlete's foot.
Oh yeah. You get clammy feet.
You're not getting the purchase as well with flippers on.
You're not getting the purchase.
That's
You're
so
right.
true. Veruca socks. You could do Veruca
I
socks.
could do Veruca socks.
You could do football boots as well. AstroTurfs. You get some purchase on those.
I feel like footy shirts and stuff is like quite a common fantasy, right?
Yeah, but I think there's a difference between a fantasy and a fetish. Like shin pads would be a fetish, but like football tops is a fantasy. But it's like, I want you to just wear shin pads
and just fucking welly me.
Yeah, wear wellies as well.
Shin pads and wellies. Mate, fucking hell, yeah.
Because found that on the farm.
Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah.
There's a documentary about people like being in was it balloons or something? They're like being in these and they inflate themselves up, and that was like would you class that as a fetish or?
Yeah, there are people who are into balloons. I can't remember what it's called, but there are definitely people who are into into balloons.
See, I'm like that.
I'm
like, why is your brain saying yes to that? That's where I'm like, I want to know.
But I think it must be the same kind of thing that makes people scared of bananas.
Yeah.
You have a phobia. A phobia is just a thing that you're scared of that you shouldn't be, like
a lone bean.
Yeah, like evolution. Yeah.
Dave's missus is scared of like if there's a single bean on the side, a dry bean.
Well, every woman.
Are they all scared of lone beans?
And so
carry on.
But like a phobia is like being scared about something that evolutionary you shouldn't be scared of, essentially. And a fetish is just something that people are into that they
you shouldn't want to fuck this.
I guess shouldn't be, or like I don't know, like.
There's that documentary that we love, My Car Is My Lover.
That's got a lot of airtime recently.
I watch that once a year. I won't watch
that's like Christmas for you, isn't it?
I find it hard to watch like movies twice. I watch it once ago. It's got to be years. Once a year, man. It's Bottom Village for me. Documentary. Have you ever seen a documentary about Bottom Village?
No.
I mean, it's probably due a reboot.
Bottom Village and then My Car Is My Lover is just fucking hilarious.
Are they both Channel 5 docs? Because they were wild back in the day.
Well, I know that. I think I've heard of the car one.
Objectophilia, when somebody.
Yeah, because someone married the Eiffel Tower.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I do want to talk about your other doc as well, just to get a little bit of an overview on like how that came about. But have you got anything in the pipeline that's sort of coming up, or are you quite busy with the pods and stuff at the moment?
I'd say busy with the pods. I had a period where I was kind of planning more kind of culty stuff, but I mean, the stuff that me and Carl are planning and the Mad That stuff and stuff like that are very much like the outlet for that kind of like part of the brain, the hamster that's going around like thinking of these things. And also the aim for me and Carl is to go and do kind of Mad That documentaries. When we have kind of proper sponsorship and a backing, or like we can like get the money for it, going away and filming on location with these kind of groups, or like we did a former KKK member for Mad That, like we'd love to go to a Klan rally or something, and and like go do the same kind of journalism but in person, because there is something that you lose by being on Zoom. But obviously, if it's not on Zoom, then it doesn't happen. So,
with the guests and stuff that you've had on, a lot of them have they all been American? Actually,
bar.
I mean, one of them was in prison, Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic.
So-
Neil Woods was British.
Yeah, sorry, that's right. Yeah.
But I think he's based in Brussels, or he might be in England now. But
He's still in contact with Joe Exotic. Or?
Joe Exotic sends me messages sometimes.
Little DMs from Joe.
Joe Exotic, because we would share stuff and we would share the clips, and then he'd message me. But like sometimes
accepting the collaborator request or whatever from prison.
Well, sometimes I'll wake up and get messages off Joe Exotic that's just join my live or whatever, and then I wake up in the morning and it's like 4 a.m. So like he sent it at 4 a.m. my time. It's like a you up message off Joe Exotic. It's like come on, babe. Like
that's wild, isn't it?
In
your own words, the most famous man of 2020. Like,
he's I think he's having a rough time now because he's not like he thought he was going to get let out if Trump won, and as of yet,
it's not quite happened yet.
And also, last I heard, Jorge, who he got married to in prison, who he revealed to us
on the pod for the first time,
has just been deported.
Oh,
so I think
so Trump really didn't listen.
We sent.
On your episode, he literally demanded 2 things, didn't he? Like, I want to let him out and I want you to pardon Jorge and give him a visa, basically.
And he's 0 for 2.
Yeah.
But we send our love to Joe.
Yes, yeah. Regardless, like, do you know what? I loved that chat with him. He genuinely does seem like quite a good guy. And the thing that was making me howl laughing, where he was like, that group paid him like $500 to wear an adult diaper or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, we just did mad challenges. You guys ever watch Jackass? Like, yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Do you think, sorry to interrupt, but do you think Carol Baskin did it?
I think the conspiracy of her doing it is much better and funner to believe than her not.
I think I agree.
Yeah.
Whether she did is by the by, because also Joe Exotic said lots of stuff when we spoke to him that I was like, oh, that's not true. So
he's a wild
if
man.
Joe Exotic's your fountain of knowledge, then like do you know what I mean? Like maybe getting to check a little bit. Yeah.
No, we should talk mad that because we're sort of on it at the moment. So it's done in seasons as opposed to Have a Words like weekly episodes, which you guys are doing.
Yeah,
and you guys are currently like touring and stuff, doing live shows. All right, Dave.
That's my bad, mate. Sorry.
That's all right. Just putting voice effects on. So you guys are also touring and doing live shows, but mad that's like more seasonal. So you've done season 1.
Yes. So the purpose of kind of doing seasons was to so that we didn't have a drop off in quality of guests. If you keep on going, I mean, one as well. Like on another point, the effort and the production that kind of goes into it. The editing is a lot harder.
Yeah,
there's a lot more that goes that gets kind of like graphics wise that goes into it. I try to really polish every single one.
Yeah.
Not that the Have Words ones aren't, but obviously with there's not
got
graphics flying up.
You've also got a bigger
like
team on Have a Words.
Yeah, it's just me and Carl that do the interviews, and then it's just me that edits everything.
Yeah, so you're like a one-man, well, not a one-man army, obviously Carl's there as well, but you're doing a lot of the production side of things, the behind the scenes, the people that don't see.
Yeah. And it's especially, so I edited a lot of them when the lads were in India, but I was editing all of the Mad That stuff whilst also producing India from home, and I was kind of like quarterbacking kind of places to go and stuff like that.
It's mad, isn't it, that you're like, oh yeah, what are you doing at the minute? I'm working from home. What are you doing? I'm just producing some lads traveling across India.
Yeah, it's like it was a bit full like that. Because also as well, because I was covering people's work, and then when people got back, everyone was knackered.
Yeah.
So I then covered them, obviously because they were shattered.
Yeah.
But it got to a point, like a month or 2 after that, where I was like, I need to take. Yeah. I was like, we finished the record. I was like, I'm taking the rest of the week off, like because I haven't had a break. So everyone had like a little breather, and
you're holding up the whole fort kind of thing.
Like my work. And it's a me thing in terms of like it's something I probably need to work on, but I'm not good at switching off.
Yeah.
So I just put all of my brain power into something, especially if I have a project. Like I don't kind of switch off, and especially the podcast like is on my mind 24/7.
Yeah,
like, Have a Word. Just probably not a good thing, but it's also like I'm passionate about it.
Mate, 100%, and it shows obviously, and it pays off in spades because you guys are doing so well with Have a Word. But then also on top of that, you've got Mad That, weighing in as well, and that's got to obviously take a good percentage of your time, because researching and thinking of guests and then also contacting the guests, like obviously from a journalistic background, you maybe learn a little bit how to do that. And I guess it sort of, in the early days, it comes from your dad saying, why don't you just email that boxer? It's literally asking the question, right?
Absolutely.
So the reason you're sat here right now is because I was like, come on, come have a chat to us. Like,
and the worst thing
yes,
people can do is say no. It's mad. And it's like, it's the same thing with like, people ask me how I got Joe Exotic. It's like, I've just fucking DM'd him.
Yeah, literally on Instagram, you DM'd Joe Exotic.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's obviously like shoved the phone up his arse and took it in or something.
Yeah,
I thought I was speaking to like his team, but it was just him.
That man is on the internet. That man is on the internet, by the way, guys.
Yeah, which is why we. But he's like, also he's in like a kind of medical prison because he's got cancer. So he's like, I think there's a little bit of a leeway, maybe, or there's a reason why his phone hasn't been confiscated off him.
The celeb thing, maybe. I don't know. Is it good for the prison? Are the prison getting extra views on their TikTok or something?
I don't. Probably not, because he's.
Have the prison got a TikTok?
Just doing all dances and that.
Oh, I would genuinely though. With America, I would not be surprised if Joe Exotic's prison had a TikTok and he was good for views or something.
The Department of Justice in America or whatever said that he is the most famous prisoner of all time in terms of if it going off letters that he gets and stuff.
I'd say famous, not infamous, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
He's not the most infamous criminal.
Yeah.
He's the most famous prisoner.
Wow.
As for being locked up.
Yeah.
I guess based purely on the amount of people that get in touch with him.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The amount of people that send him messages and stuff.
So like for you to get through, man, that's like, it's not just, I guess to an extent it's luck, but also like you got through and you got him on. Like, whoa, that's mega.
When I told Carl that we had him, like that was adrenaline enough as it is. Like, do you know what I mean? That was a rush that I'm chasing again now when I'm booking the new guests. Is like when I find a guest and I secure it and I tell Carl about it, the kind of like virtual high-fiving that we're doing is like boss.
I'm not looking for spoilers because I'm excited for series 2, but have you got like a loose sort of estimate of like how many you've got booked in, or like a loose kind of release date you're looking at for them? Is it going to be next year now? So the plan is to do Mad World, which is going to be a kind of in the interim, which is a way for us to put content out whilst then we're making whilst we're making Mad That season 2, because that's it's easier to record in bulk and then like bleed out. Yeah.
But
you get Finn to do a cover of Mad World for that by Gary. Gary Jules. Well, the Tears for Fears, but Gary Jules version.
Yeah, I mean that would be. But so I mean, in terms of the release date for Mad That, we're not too sure. I mean, originally we were going to have it a bit of a shorter gap, but with the amount of weddings that we've had, like with the podcast,
yeah.
Like Carl's having his second wedding, so it's like legally binding in the country and stuff like Saturday, as of recording this. So like, it's all been a bit full on. So when that's wrapped up, we'll be on track a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I'd like, so the last one was 8 episodes. I'd love it to be at least 8. But if we can get the kind of funding and then do some sort of documentary style thing, even if it was like 6 really strong episodes and then like a longer kind of out and about thing would be great.
It sounds great, man. Like
ultimately, the more I've really got the itch for it again.
Yeah.
After when Joe Exotic went out and I didn't have to clip out anything anymore, I didn't have to do last minute edits for stuff. I needed a break.
Yes, of course.
Which is another thing with the kind of seasons, which is great.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I remember when you first announced that you were doing Mad That and you put the trailer out.
Yeah.
And I remember I sat on the top of the stairs watching it whilst like my kid was going to sleep or whatever, and had my AirPods in. And then the Joe Exotic bit comes up at the end of the trailer, and I just went "fuck off!" And my kid woke up, and my wife's like, "What are you doing? What's going on?" And I was like, "I can't." Harry's got fucking Joe Exotic on Mad That. It's crazy. But so series 2, you and Carl have sort of said we're going to go bigger and better and more ambitious, and we're going to keep these crazy guests come in. Like I guess like is America kind of the hub of where the crazy's at, or have you got some UK sort of more UK people in mind?
I've got a huge list on my phone. I'd love to branch out further. I mean, we had like kind of for season 1, we had 2 separate North Koreans booked in.
Holy
and
fuck, okay.
And one of them asked for loads of money about a week before we were going to film.
Yeah.
And he asked for money for the prep time, and I was like, we don't need you. We're the ones prepping. Like, we want to hear about you. I was like, we
Getting
don't.
his nails done.
I was like, we don't pay for guests, because then I feel like that kind of changes things. If it was paying for him to get over somewhere, it's a bit different. But he was asking for like a lot of money, and I was like, no. And then we had someone organised that I'd love to try and get back on, but he. I think he has a period of the year where he doesn't do anything, because it kind of is the time where he had a lot of trauma, like the time of year where he had a lot of trauma in North Korea. And I was like, listen, you don't I'm not going to sit here and try and pressure someone who's.
We'll chat to you for series 3 kind of thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the same with I'd love to get someone from, obviously Laura Johnson Coles passed away, but I'd love to get someone from Jonestown and stuff like that.
Is Mad that kind of a souped up version of the podcast that you were doing when you were more of a teenager?
I mean, there's two repeat guests in season 1 that I did back when I was 16, 17, 18.
Which was it? Greg Cading?
Greg Cading, and then the 2 fellas that killed Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
Who, I mean, and the Greg Cading one as well. I was, because I'm epileptic. When I did the Greg Cading one, I was unhappy with how it went, because at that day I wasn't properly medicated and stuff like that. My head was all over the gaff.
Yeah.
So to be able to then go back and do it again, and I knew that how passionate Carl was about kind of Biggie and Tupac, because Greg Cading was
of course,
solved the Biggie and Tupac murders, and he to be able to like retcon my own interview a little bit and be like,
wow,
create something that I was actually way more proud of was. Yeah, and like amazing for me. It was a bit of a personal thing for me. And like, there's people that I've interviewed that I'd probably love to get on again for season 2, because barely anyone saw them.
Yes,
bar the Pablo Escobar fellas, which did really well.
Yeah,
when I was
younger.
Yeah. Like no one saw them, and I'd be able to get it out a bit more, which is good. So,
is there anything that's happened like in sort of recent times that you kind of like? I mean, I was thinking of one that was like, oh, that'll be when that gets solved or whatever. That's going to be a great future Mad that. One of them's the guys that will solve the Madeleine McCann disappearance.
Yes, yeah.
So like, obviously that's sort of ongoing at the moment, and it's looking like they're pretty heavily investigating that guy, right? They're collating the evidence.
Oh, what's this? Have they?
So they've got a new suspect in the Madeleine McCann disappearance, but the German police are quite heavily investigating some very specific areas in Portugal. And there's like a Channel 4 documentary that's recently come out about it that I've watched, and I'm like,
how long has that been now?
Oh,
2004.
20.
It's a long time. Yeah, long time.
Jeez, I remember working at Tesco and seeing all the papers.
I think that's one of the most famous missing people cases ever.
Yeah,
but,
right. Crazy.
So I was like,
carry on. Sorry.
That would be a future future. And then I was also like, I've just started watching the Titan submersible thing. I mean, like
that'd be because I've not seen because they've just brought out the Netflix one.
There's a Netflix
today.
Yeah,
we are actually planning a musical.
What, the submarine?
It's called Pink Mist the Musical. It's the story of Titan submersible.
Pink Mist, there's something quite beautiful about that.
Yeah,
and also harrowing, because that's what they.
And I figure as well, you can do it kind of like, you'd have to see obviously lots of bloodshed. You can kind of represent it with like, like bits of cloth sort of being waved around on the stage.
What happened is on our last podcast, we even named it Pink Mist because we started talking about it, and I was like, how did we get into a musical? And we imagined all of the stage opens up, and it's just the submersible. Then each one are like singing, like each one of the millionaires that are going into there, like, and they're singing about.
It's like 6.
Yeah, 6 that was and then like act 1, act 2, act 3,
and they go under, and then you hear the boom, and then we had like
we did also think about creating like a Gen Z version, which was only like 10 minutes long, just to keep everyone's attention span.
And there's just like Subway surfers at the bottom.
Yes,
yeah. We actually wanted. Do you remember Left Shark from years ago?
Yeah.
We wanted. I came up with like a shark comes down, but it's represented by the famous Left Shark, and he's saying how he's like, oh, when it blows up, he just goes, oh, and he just kind of we made it more.
So like the noise of the implosion as well that you hear on that recording where it's like, oh, it's lovely.
Do you not think it'd be a great musical?
I think it'd be. I can get more famous sharks. You get Left Shark. You get the one from Jaws.
Yeah,
Baby Shark.
Oh, Baby Shark. Fuck.
The American Dragon's Den. All of them.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Fuck.
Loan Shark.
Loan
wherever
Shark.
he is.
Loan Shark.
He's on loan.
We'll get you on. When we put it together, we have enough money. We'll get you on as a writer.
Yeah. Executive producer Harry Robinson.
Pink Mist.
That'd be great. Purple Aki.
I don't think you're allowed to say that anymore.
Are we not? Bleep it out, quick.
Oh yeah, I mean
the mystery of the man that is.
I'd see people have asked about Akinwale Arabiki.
Otherwise known as
he was called Purple Aki.
Yeah,
because the people said wrongly that he was so black he's purple. That's why he's called Purple Aki.
Yeah.
And I feel it's important. I'm saying that for context.
Yeah. So we're not getting cancelled, basically. Thank you, Harry.
But so
that's nice.
So Aki, had
a fascinating character.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where
an urban myth, maybe.
Well, so my dad used to work in Walton Prison, and when Aki was there,
right.
And apparently he was a bit of a kind of, like a, what's the kind of word? Like almost like a solicitor for the prison, a bit or whatever. He'd like try and like sort out problems, even if people didn't want him to be there to sort them out.
Right.
I'd love to, but also I don't know how, like, kind of safe of mind he is. Do you know what I mean? He's from all accounts, he's a bit of a strange character. But I mean, like, if he wants to come on, absolutely, we'll get anyone.
Or a short documentary.
Yeah, someone did. I think the BBC Three do one.
They did a documentary on him.
They didn't speak to. I mean, like, he's been seen in Wigan and he's been seen in Leeds or whatever. He moves around a bit because people recognise him and then take photos of him and then.
It's like Where's Wally, isn't it?
Yeah. Where's Aki?
Where's Aki?
That's just in the gym all the time.
Just feeling biceps.
Yeah.
Ooh, lovely. There he is. Where is he? Oh, he's feeling a bicep down there in the bottom right corner. Nice.
Stop it, Aki.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Oh no.
But yeah, so because he went to prison because I think he chased someone onto a train track or something.
Oh shit! Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, I remember that.
So I think that was when the documentary came up, but it was still a bit like because he was like the boogeyman.
Yeah,
like a little bit like people would be like, oh, go to bed, otherwise Aki will get you.
Yeah. Up until that point, by the way, this was just seen as acceptable behaviour, what he was doing. Like, he's just, what harm's he going to do? Oh, he's chased them onto a train track and they've died. It took that to get...
It loops round that he just has a muscle fetish, doesn't he? He's just a big man with a fetish for muscles.
Yeah, the thing in his brain that, shouldn't be afraid of a lone bean is actually loving a strong muscle.
Big muscle, yeah.
I wonder why he loves big muscles.
Who knows? Who doesn't?
The lone bean comment got me again. The worst Western of all time.
This is the same woman, by the way, who drinks brine from the can.
Dave's missus, is actually afraid of baked beans, a singular baked bean, if it's discarded on a table or a side. If it's loads of them, is she all right?
No, she's fine. It's just one.
If a table's filled with beans everywhere.
That makes me feel sick. A table being filled with... I don't like beans, though, to be fair.
Do you know what I don't like? Skin on gravy.
I don't like gravy.
You don't like gravy? Whoa.
As a man from Wigan, how's that been for your life?
Well, I'm veggie, but I'm like fake veggie because like I'll get drunk and eat fried chicken. So,
veggie sort of mostly.
I'm a flexitarian. Yeah. Basically, I'm a veggie in name because if you say, oh, I'm a veggie, but sometimes I eat fried chicken, people lose respect for you. But then sometimes I'll go out for food. I'm like, I would like some fried chicken. I don't know why it's just fried chicken as well.
If I was to give up meat, sorry, I was just going to say, if I was going to give up meat, it would be just all red meat. I could live off chicken. In fact, I don't really, apart from burgers, man.
One of my mates moved to Ibiza a few years ago and he became a freegan, so he'd only eat meat if he could find it, and they used to find it in like the bin.
Yeah.
He used to go to like the supermarkets at the end of the day, and then they'd like throw out all the rancid meat, and then they'd dive in the bin, get all the meat out, and then that would be the only meat they'd eat.
Just bin dipping.
But I think they went like every day. So I'm like, so you're a freegan and you're not eating meat, but you're eating meat like every day, probably more than before, because meat's expensive, right? And if you're eating steak that's going to go off,
yeah.
Dicing with diarrhea as well, aren't you, really? If you're getting steak out of a bin.
Nice with everything, mate. Not just diarrhea.
Because Too Good To Go can be a bit like ropey sometimes. That's not even in the bin yet. That's
do you know about Too Good To Go?
Yeah.
I only discovered that app like a year ago when my mate was like, "Hey, you get some fucking deals on there." I was like,
good.
"Yeah," and I binning it out at like 8 o'clock at night, going.
Yeah, you just got to come
Just
around.
give you a bag. Like,
Just got to come round to the co-op and collect it out of this bin. Yeah, there's loads of other people just diving in like a lucky dip challenge kind of thing.
I like the idea of it. I do.
Yeah, it is good.
Too Good To
No,
Go
it is
sick.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, but you just get like pretzels from what's that pretzel place and something. You just get like pretzels that will just break your teeth. They're just the hardest things. in the
Yeah,
world.
it's done.
True.
Like donuts from Greg's that have been just hardened. Yeah.
Yeah, and that someone's like stuck the willy in. It's like some of the people that work at Greg's. It's like,
Dude, I had the saddest breakfast. You know, I think I'm not very
today?
patriotic. No, not today. It's last week. I'm not very patriotic, but what I will say about is the UK is we do the best breakfast. Like full English is like banging.
Yeah.
I had the saddest breakfast last week. I remember I was in trouble when I went in there. I mean, I just looked on TripAdvisor and it said it had banging ratings, like thousands. Like, here we go, fucking I'll smash in there at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it was like, when she handed me a plate and nodded over to the buffet thing, I was like, oh fuck, it's
Like a hot buffet breakfast.
Oh, it's just all like soggy, just.
well, then what's it with
bacon.
these the kind of same places as well? The pubs that like the weird chain pubs that will do like burgers or whatever, but they're always like 3,000 calories for a burger.
Yeah.
And like I'm not
They make
like,
your burger so big you can't even get it in your mouth. Like
no, but they're not even that. Like so, we were because I've been with my grandparents. Or whatever, we were looking for like a place to eat, and I looked at the menu of one of these places because I'll go sometimes and I'll get a salad.
Yeah.
So like I don't want, but the salad's like 1,500 calories.
What are you putting
So
on
what,
it?
where have you kept it?
Yeah.
Like
What you
oozing
glazing
it?
this with? Yeah.
Yeah, like just like I don't know how these places, and then they always sell big fuck off like pre-scooped ice cream as well. That's mad. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
And then
why?
big cakes as well. That like just for the novelty of a cake, and that's like 10,000 calories, and that's like we expect you to like overdose on something.
Yeah.
It's just like to ward off diabetics.
Yeah.
But the UK is definitely following like the American model, right? With just like
We are.
calorific kind of stuff. And I mean, I've lost 3 pounds this week, David. I'll have you know.
Without Ozempic?
Without Zempies, mate. Yeah. No.
Are you gonna? Well, you don't need to, but me and Jim are thinking
I'll
about
take
doing Ozempic, like as everybody is.
Yeah. Are you gonna get on the Zempies?
We call them
know,
Zempies, yeah.
But it gives you square head, doesn't it?
Whoa, continue.
It does
Gives
it?
you- I'm pretty sure. Have you not seen
Is
Sharon
that
Osbourne?
One of the side effects.
Sharon Osbourne looks like an extra in the Minecraft movie.
She does.
Jesus, is that what's happening to all of them? Because
They've
they're
all
all
got-
going a bit gaunt.
They've
aren't
all
they?
got
Like-
square heads.
In a few years, it's going to be a problem. I think the after effects of Zempi, and future documentary.
Yeah,
Future mad that guest, like the person that sort of started mass
Square.
marketing Ozempic.
yeah.
Yeah, it's too
Gary
new.
Ozempic.
I know.
Gary Ozempic.
Played for Blackpool. Him.
See, I knew. We know so many people now that are just buying it and like losing like
Just getting off
weight.
the internet as well.
Yeah, but then you just put it all back. Like I don't.
When you
And I
stop
can't-
taking it.
I mean, because I was always kind of quite skinny growing up, and then I went to America, and I put on weight.
He
in
showed us
America.
that picture like off pod,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh yeah.
I put on weight in America.
But dude, you're on a fitness kick now, right? You're running a lot and
Yeah, well, my missus runs like I say she runs marathons. She ran a 1 half marathon, but she runs all the time. And she's
Yeah.
dead fit and like
big up to it. It's a half marathon. It's an
no,
achievement.
Oh no, yeah, but she keeps on hating when I keep on bigging up and saying that she runs like ultra marathons and she doesn't. But, like,
She
it
runs a lot,
It
though.
makes me laugh to be like, she's the hardest geezer. For me, she's the hardest geezer.
Oh, he's mad. Yeah, for running.
I think he's also stupid. Like
He's
like,
crazy, isn't he? Yeah. Just
but
doing that.
yeah, but I'm on a bit of a kind of fitness kick in that regard. But I hate the calorie counting side of it.
Yeah, it's depressing.
But also, like I can when I've got something to look forward to, I can do it.
yeah.
Like when we had Carl's wedding coming up, like I lost weight, like and then
You have like a goal kind of,
that.
yeah.
But
Well,
like
one of our best mates' weddings, Dave won't mind me telling this story. David put on a bit of weight. He went for a suit fitting, had his suit fitted, and then like put on a bunch of weight after that. And so then the trousers didn't fit anymore. And then about 2 weeks before the wedding, he was like, I'm going to slim down and
Yeah.
I'm going to get in them trousers. And if not, and then the guy whose wedding it was like, okay, mate, but if not, you have to pay like 60 quid to get the next size up trouser. he's like, I don't care. I'll pay it. I'm not going to pay it. Like, I'm going to make it. And you ate chicken and broccoli for 2 weeks, a week.
Did I do it? Because I thought this story was going to go a different way.
No, you didn't do it, mate. You didn't. You didn't quite make it in the trousers. No, you didn't. You didn't quite make it in the trousers. And then you had to pay the 60 quid.
He was so disappointed as well.
Yeah.
I was his best man. He's like, you got to get in it. I was like, yeah, man, I'll do that.
You can't wear trackies. Like, basically, you can't wear trackies and then
like
a suit
Gabor
jacket.
Kiraly.
Yeah. You can't wear trackies and a suit jacket. You've got to wear... They should make suit trousers with elasticated waistbands. It would really eliminate a lot of this stress.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Elasticated waistbands are where it's at anyway.
They've started making trousers with them, haven't they? It's a
jeans
game changer.
with them. Uniqlo have been rolling out the kind of elasticated jeans.
I think it's a game changer.
Yeah, I think it's a dangerous slope that though.
Yeah,
it just makes being fat easy.
You was on about creating a new form of boxer. Because I'm like you, I've got a gut now with the boxers and they just fold over.
Yeah.
And you want to create like a higher up boxer that just sits across the gut, don't you?
When you hit the mid-30s, Harry, it's just hard to avoid the gut. It's just so hard. It just comes for you. And my box is folding off. And you can feel them. You can feel it go when your tummy just like hits them and they just go, and it's like the submersible sound. It folds in half and you're like, they're folded in half again.
Well, I remember because when I was in America, I used to have we used to eat out almost every night because Walmart was too far away. And then when we went to Walmart, I used to buy like tortellini, but like stuff that you could keep in the cupboard.
Yeah.
Which is never good for like tortellini's filled pasta. Never good that you can just keep that in the cupboard. That's mad. But so I would just eat pasta and then I would eat pizza. Like, so I really put on the weight.
And the burgers over there, man, as well.
Well, there used to be a bar called Logie's. It was like an Irish bar in Oklahoma, and they used to do Power Hour where all beer, pitchers of a beer, were $1 at 4 p.m. and then every hour afterwards they would just go up $1. But people used to just buy loads of pitchers, and get bladdered. And I had some extra like lectures or whatever, but my mates were already on the roof and they were bladdered, and they filmed me as I was coming across the road, and they were like, "Harry's here," and someone put it on his story. And me crossing the road looked like fucking Del Boy off Only Fools. I was like running like that. Like I had these big baggy jeans that would have made me think, you're playing netball in the Special Olympics. like Shane Gillis says, like offensive bagginess. And and like I did that kind of, I don't know, that little like waddle a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, I need to lose some weight. But then I just did a year of uni after that where I just ate takeaways and then I kicked into it after that.
Oh man, genuinely, I've been running the last week and a half and I've shifted a couple of pounds, but I'm also like looking down at my gut when I'm running. I'm just like, oh my God, it's running with me.
Yeah.
Like it is bad. It is bad, but it's going. So
I might just say sorry again on the Zempies, mate. And then worry about it like years down the line when I've got some kind of fucking frail bone.
I want you to have like a Zempi spoon or like a Zempi nail or something that you're just ripping it.
Just straight Zempi nails.
Can you put a Zempic in your gums?
Can you gum a Zempic?
No, you have to inject it. I think
Google
it's quite fucking savage.
Can you like butt drop a
Zempic?
Probably.
Is that only if you want to get your arse down?
Yeah,
I think. But
my mum's on it because she's diabetic.
She's butt dropping it.
I'm
helping her.
My mum was a big gal, and she's a fucking like you said. I think she's gone squarehead. Oh no,
she's Sharon Osbourne now.
She is, man.
Yeah,
she's gone squarehead.
She's got a big jowl now. Shitting.
She does sound like that as well, my mum. Yeah, a little bit of Cockney and stuff.
I think it's only you really notice it when kind of skinny people or like are on Ozempic, like the celebrities that go on Ozempic, and then they were you could see their face anyway, but then their face has just kind of gone like like in Spy Kids when they would like stretch the faces. I'm not sure if that's too young of a reference for the two of you.
I mean, I don't know what Spy Kids is.
I only know Spy Kids
Dave
really because
other kids are referencing it on the internet and you're on there with
autistic.
All those chat rooms are just like they're all talking about Spy Kids.
Yeah. I wonder what it was. I got into it.
Learned how to manipulate it.
I know but isn't the fucking director of one of the Spy Kids movies really? He did like Tarantino movies or something. Oh, not Tarantino, sorry. What is his fucking name?
Robert Rodriguez.
He did one of the Spy Kids movies.
Yeah, I think so. He also, he definitely
Which
did.
is wild.
Danny
because-
Trejo's in it, and Antonio Banderas is in it as well.
Yeah,
Wow.
which is wild for Robert. He just said he did it because I listened to a podcast with him and he said, "Yeah, I did one of the Spy Kid movie because I thought it sounded
They're
sick."
boss films. But at the end of the first one, basically, they mold people's heads, and he's got like all of his like minions are all made of thumbs.
I might have to watch
Yeah,
this.
it sounds sick.
This is triggering me.
I reckon we get absolutely bonked up on Zempies and watch it. That'd
Yeah,
be sick. That.
I mean,
We'll get really high.
and ironically, there's people who need to be on Ozempic who look like thumbs anyway.
Yeah, true.
So maybe it's all like
Over here. Just over here.
I just don't want to put the effort in, man.
No.
Do you know what I mean? When I cut out like sugar, that I go down anyway because my inflammation just goes me, and it's just like, but it's this shit, man. I fucking love it.
I do.
I love it. It's so addictive. I fucking love sugar, man.
we have chocolate in the office, and we've just discovered that if you put Kinder Buenos in the fridge, then they like the stuff inside goes hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
my God,
yes.
it is a
I'm gonna
game changer,
balloon
man.
in weight because that is insane.
Shit,
that was a
so
big thing in
good.
America when I used to put my Nutella in the fridge, and then I realised that you could just scoop it off and eat it like chocolate.
Yes.
And I think that's what got me really, really fat.
Just jars of Nutella.
Yeah, big jars as well. And then I would just I'd just have a spoon in it, and I'd just go past and eat just like
Dude, I do
out
that
from the
with
jar.
I do that with Nutella. I did that with treacle.
Treacle?
Golden syrup.
That makes you so thirsty, surely.
I'm real bad for it, man. I'm
Just
fucking.
no jars of sweet stuff are allowed in your house.
It's genuinely. I am at this one of the most.
Jam?
I've done a lot of drugs in my life. Sugar is the one that I cannot kick. I fucking whenever I see it, I just get it in me. But I feel so good when I don't have it. Like my fucking brain is just like a lot more clearer. I'm just more with it. I'm just more together. But when I'm eating sugar, because I had a period of like a month recently, didn't I? I was like, oh fucking hell,
Yeah.
I feel switched on more. But now I'm just like in the throes of it again.
Falling back into the addiction.
Oh man,
Jacking up under the bridge.
it's all over the place.
Sticking Twixes up his arse.
sucking people off for Twixes.
I'm very aware that we've got to get you to a train, Harry. But before we go, can we just cover your second documentary quickly? Because I said we were going to, and I haven't really managed to ask you any questions about it yet. Because we got sidetracked about Ozempic and butt dropping it.
And lone beans.
And I got really excited about that. So your second documentary, most recent?
Yeah, so I made that my final year at Sheffield Uni.
Which is where we are right now. So very fitting. Nice.
Absolutely. So it was my dissertation kind of piece, really. It was my final project. It's called Mother's Ruin.
Yeah.
And it's about a church called the Church of God.
Yeah.
The World Mission Society Church of God. And they basically believe that this woman in Korea is God, and she's alive and kicking, and they believe that she is God, and they go out and give her money and stuff like that.
Literally
And basically
worship her in that,
this group they're very big on just recruiting people and then getting money put back into it. They don't want people having children because it takes away from the church. It's all very it's all very controlling, and they love bomb a lot of people. But also they're also quite litigious. So I was worried at the time that like I was going to put my student film out and then they were just going to shit all over it, and take it down,
and strike it and stuff, put legal action against it.
Yeah, well, they took one woman to court for years for about $10 million, I think, in the end, and she ended up winning. But they just basically made it so they could postpone because they're a church and they're minted, allegedly, so we all don't get sued. And like
Thank
kidnapped.
you. Yeah, I don't want to get kidnapped. I've seen some of the people on it; they are quite scary.
Yeah, well,
Allegedly.
so I knocked on, and then they basically do you know the
Are you not scared at any point when you're doing this? Like,
I was
you're gonna
more
come
scared about
across-
this one than I'm more scared about the kind of legal action than I ever was going into a park getting felt up by like people in body armor,
7 foot guys that are absolutely ripped.
like so I was kind of tentative. They didn't give me any access, so I think it's more of a feat personally of how I made it, because I made the documentary almost about the lack of access, and I did it. I must have interviewed about 50 like survivors of so people who had left.
I mean, that to me is the detail that's so interesting because of the different accounts and different references, and like, how do you even go about finding those people? Like, do Do you put calls out? I think you cover it in the documentary,
So
but just for our listeners.
I put a call. So kind of the way I framed the documentary, what was also kind of in my mind is that because I made a shorter version and then I made a longer version that I wanted to submit for film festivals, but the shorter version was like my final project. It couldn't be over a certain time limit. But the way I kind of end it is me doing this call out and all of these kind of comments come in, and they are from people who kind of sent in stuff.
Yeah.
But like a lot of those comments came from me speaking to people who then weren't keen to be on the documentary, but still wants to kind of share their story and stuff like that, or they wanted to be anonymous. There was a lot of people that were that spoke to me that I don't know, really didn't want. They were scared of the church.
Yeah, of course. As you are a little bit. Like,
Absolutely.
Probably for good reason, you know.
So I would speak to survivors who then put me onto other survivors because they really built a kind of community, and that was how I kind of got so many people.
Yeah.
The hard part was finding someone in England because it's a Korean church, but they spread across the world. A lot of the churches are in America.
Right.
A lot of the kind of horror stories come from America.
And had you just found out about this from like research? Because your documentary is the first time I'd heard about it. I'd not heard or read anything about it prior to that.
I found out about this church. I went down to London and met up. I was already down in London for something, and I met up with a girl I went to primary school with.
Yeah.
But like my primary school, as like I've mentioned on Have a Word, had about 10 people in the year.
Yeah.
And there was a girl called Lucy who left in primary school, but she messaged me because she was working for Sky. She was doing journalism.
Yeah.
And she had a family member that had ended up in this church.
Right.
Essentially. That I knew.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I say, like, I didn't know very well now, but I knew.
But it's closer to home than you think, almost, with some of these things.
A little bit. Like, I didn't have a relationship with the fella, but she asked me because she didn't know what the church. They're quite secretive with kind of who they share the name of the church to, essentially.
Wow. Okay.
And she didn't know who they were, but she had all the kind of buzzwords for what the church believed in.
Yeah.
So I then found the church for her. I guess I was like, I'm convinced it's this one.
But your researching is fucking top notch, man.
Oh, thank you.
What are you using? What browser you? No, carry on. Sorry, I'll let you carry on.
It's just digging, hours of digging.
Yeah.
But I find it quite relaxing. But like, so and then I just went diving into it, and I was like, this is mental. Like, stuff didn't seem right. It seemed creepy to me as someone who, isn't a religious person.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm fascinated by religion.
Yeah.
And then I spoke to kind of all these survivors or whatever and put a story together. And then I wanted to speak to the church and get their side of the story because I wanted them to be a part of it.
Yeah.
But they've got the whole outlook of like shut off anyone who tries to speak and
holy fuck.
No one's allowed to speak to the media and that kind of stuff. But I didn't realize that really when I knocked on until I got told after I'd spoken to more people.
Yeah. And you're just filming as well. You got the camera guy behind you.
Yeah, who's Adam as well, who did
the first one. First one, Adam.
And
shout out to Adam.
Yeah, I owe him a lot for the amount of time he gave me with like me just taking him around everywhere. And
he got to see some cool shit from that as well, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially
he felt up in a park and
yeah. I mean, because he got felt up as well. Like, but like, yeah, he got.
That's when the cutaways came in. Then is it like?
Well, I filmed one bit where I'm holding the camera, I think, and you can see him be like.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, and then that was a difficult one to edit because you're editing something without a kind of narrative. The narrative is kind of just the stories of the survivors, and I really wanted to make it almost this important piece. But like from that, I've had so many messages, from people who have left the church
because they've seen
the document, or have who have got their family members out because of it, or who have like I'm pretty sure they've shown the documentary in their masses to be like this is fake news and stuff. So I've been shown in a kind of church,
mate, that's wow.
That's something that when that happens, then that gives me a lot of pride, especially when I'm like I'm a professional knobhead now. Like my job now, I just like get to piss about, and then I'll get comments that's like, "Oh, I was in this church and I left," and I'm like, because of seeing your video, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
You've made a profound difference.
Yeah.
But even being a professional knobhead, you're making a profound difference to people every day, because you're taking people out of their lives and their hardships and their difficult times, and you're giving them laughter and joy. And like the Have a Word live shows you've been doing recently have just looked absolutely wild. Like they've been they looked so much fun. Like,
well, I got my top off in Dublin.
What's Have a Word given to you?
Oh, so I'm so grateful to and also they took a chance on me. Like, it wasn't like I turned up and applied for a job.
Yeah.
They offered me some sort of role that they didn't even really know. Like, Dan messaged me when I was in America and was like, "There's a role for you when you finish uni." And there was,
nice.
and at the time as well, I graduated uni, and I was told by, this is going to sound like pretentious, but I was told by my uni, because I'd won like film festival awards and stuff like that, and I'd done 2 documentaries, and they were like, "You're going to walk into a job." And I wanted to walk into a TV job, and TV, because I was epileptic and I couldn't drive. Sorry, I am epileptic, but I couldn't drive at the time. I can now.
Right.
I couldn't get a runner's job. Like, people wouldn't hire me because I couldn't drive. Even though I could have skipped some rungs to something I could do without a kind of car.
That could have been a blessing in disguise, man.
It absolutely is, because without that, I would have gone, oh, I need to follow the career and not this put. Like, there was just some sort of thing at Have a Word. There wasn't really a job. And then a year and a half later, I'm like, the lads are my family. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've got such a close group of mates. I get to work with them every day.
Yeah.
I get to do cool shit.
The thing is, you showed an interest, mate, early, because you just was a fan, and you kept like you said, you was genuinely wanting to not even be a part of it. I guess you genuinely just wanted to message in.
Yeah,
you're just curious, and they saw that, and God bless them.
And obviously the way it's grown, you've contributed a lot towards that. Like the India special you spoke about is a masterpiece. Obviously, a combination of different factors as well. Will on the Will on cameras, and
Will's the director.
And
films everything. I mean, Will is the top dog. And
so
and
visually,
specials.
Will. But
he also he invented the Patreon special. The idea of a Patreon special
is all Will, is it?
Well, when the lads first did the ghost hunt, when I wasn't a part of the podcast, that was Will, and he's like. So at some point, people will look back at comedy podcasting. It'll be, I've gone and spoke at podcasting about podcasting at Sheffield Uni.
Wow.
They've had me back and talk about it. At some point, comedy podcasting will be taught in some sort of kind of university module, and people will look back at Have a Word, and they'll look back at Will as a pioneer of that kind of stuff.
The model's fantastic.
But then from that, I had people telling me that I couldn't be a runner for TV, and then a year later, I'm credited as a producer for like a special that we showed in a cinema. We had a premiere for it.
You took the chance, man. You made the leap, and it was worth it. Right?
I'm very lucky, and I feel very, very lucky. So it's.
Oh man, it's lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
No, thanks for taking the time to come down. I have got you a little something before you go.
Oh wow!
Just a little gift to say cheers for travelling all this way and to make you feel at home. So if Dave can keep you entertained for like a sec while I go and grab it out of my bag, because what I'm notoriously bad at doing is just leaving everything in my bag and then like not actually having it ready to give to the guests.
That's so kind though. Thank you.
Do you know what he's giving me?
What?
A fucking Apple Watch, man.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something like heartburn or something.
Yeah.
Jim's just like, oh, do you want an Apple Watch? And I was like, who's going to say no? I was like, well, fuck it. Series 6 though, isn't it, mate? Look at him, he's panicking. Oh, he just slapped it on the table. That bastard. Yeah, he's got some gifts here. He does this, and it's fucking great. He does this to me. He surprises me all the time. Look, I've got an Apple Watch. You've got whatever. I know what gift it is. I think it's quite sweet. But, yeah, man.
I'm properly excited.
Oh, shit. Here we go. Yeah.
Well, I tried to get like a really specific version of this.
Yeah.
But it was actually quite hard to get a bit out of my budget. So I've compromised. I've got you a classic Wigan shirt.
Shut up.
I don't know if it'll fit you. It said it was a large, but it's come through as a medium. But it looks like it's got a bit of give in it. Yeah, of course you can, mate. Yeah. But I think that's from the season after they won the FA Cup, right?
Yes, this is.
That looks fucking
playoff season. But then to go with it,
is it gonna fit?
Yeah, mate, with the weight you're losing, you'll get into that, no problem. But then to go with it, I know that this guy's the GOAT, right?
Fuck off.
It's Boyce.
I'm going to show that for the camera. Jimmy, you did honestly, man. Look at that.
Well, you got to respect your guests' interests, right? You do this deep diving into people all the time. So that's Premier League 07, I think, that the sticker collection. But
yeah, no, I mean, Emerson Boyce is a legend. Emerson Boyce is the first person I ever interviewed. Looping it all back as a nice kind of closing off. Emerson Boyce is the first person I ever interviewed where I was starstruck.
Nice.
And I before that I'd interviewed Roberto Martinez and stuff like that, and I was kind of and then Emerson Boyce, I was like, oh my god, like I don't know what to do.
In your eyes, he's the GOAT, right? But I mean, I tried to get like his shirt with his name on it and stuff. Quite hard to find. So
you didn't need to get me anything for that, mate. This is going pride of place. Do you know what? Right, at Have a Word, we've just started our desks. We've set up properly.
Yeah.
And I need stuff to make my desk home.
Did you have a meeting about it? About the desk move, or was it just started doing it? No?
This is going to go pride of place, like honestly, at Have a Word Studio. So thank you so much.
Big up yourself. Thanks for coming down, Harry. Come and see us again soon. Patreon episode, guys, will be out very, very soon, following the Have a Word model. Stealing it, some might say. And yeah, catch us later.
Where can they find you, Harry, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm on Twitter at RobboHarry, ROBBOHARRY. Same with Instagram. Mad That is Mad That podcast on YouTube and Spotify and all that. Obviously, Have a Word. If you type in Have a Word, you'll find Have a Word.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go on Have a Word on the Patreon, if you do sign up or if you are a patron, we've got Film Club, which is kind of like my baby on am I
just on a recent one actually?
Just on a recent one. Yeah. We're back after a bit of a hiatus with all the weddings and stuff like that. And my girlfriend's doing the next one, and she's very excited about it.
Oh, nice, man.
And I'm very excited because she's on it. So it'll be nice.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much for having me, though, lads.
No worries. Thanks for
getting you back on, mate. There's so many more questions I want to fucking ask into. Especially about your film club now. I'm popping off. But anyway, I'll leave it because you got to go.
We need to get you to the train station. Yep. Right. Thank you so much, Harry. I'll catch you soon, man.
Thank you so much.
Nice one.
Bye.